Hey guys, we're out on the water here today and we are talking top waters. For me, for the last 10 years here in the US, I've got every top water you can possibly imagine. I've gone through them all and I found myself fishing a walk bait, spook type top water more often than not. But for about the past year and a half, 2 years, my confidence bait in the one that I tie in first has become a popper. And the reason being is I've never actually looked at it as a versatile bait. I've always looked at it as a very slow working bait. You pop it, you let it sit. And I didn't see it as a bait that you can do so much with like I do now. And so over the past year and a half, 2 years, this has actually become my confidence bait that I'm tying on year round, and it's the first thing that I'm tying on. And so the reason being is it's not just for popping, just for blooping. You can walk it fast, you can walk it, it spits, it does everything that you want it to do. And a walk bait in a spook style, they're chasing that for one particular reason only, that it's a bait fish, they're eating it to feed. With a popper, we can use it for everything. We can make it look like a bluegill, like an insect on top, a bug, a dragonfly, a frog, also shad, and then get bites from aggressive fish on beds. We can catch fry garters and everything in between. So my whole mindset has shifted to this being the bait when it comes to a topwater. So there's a ton of different baits out there. This is the Arashi Cover Pop, and they have a great selection of colors. I've got my top favorite 3 here. I'm going to explain when and why. But right now we're in the middle of the spawn, and so those fish are setting up, they're spawning, and they're protecting their beds from bluegill and anything that comes around. And then the fry garters are also doing the same thing. So that's why I'm going to run this bluegill pattern, especially in a bit of a cleaner water environment where they've got a little bit of visibility. They can see that dark green color, they can see those barred stripes, and they're going to hit this with some aggression. This thing has got teeth marks all over it. And so the Arashi Pop has a nice big cut face. I can bloop it over the top of the beds and let it sit, and then I can cover ground with it by doing short, sharp twitches and walking it. And this cut face, when it turns, it's going to spit water each side. And that natural sound of that water landing and spitting is something that a bass just cannot handle. It comes with a great hooks on it, comes with feathered hooks ready to go. And here's a crucial part. I'm going to tie a loop knot right here. So whatever your favorite loop knot is right there, if you tie it direct, it's going to want to pull that popper straight ahead and not give it the action that it needs. If it has a loop knot, that bait's able to walk, pop, do everything that it needs to do. So that's the bluegill color that I'm going to use when those fish are aggressive around beds and guarding fry. So before that and after that, so pre-spawn and post-spawn, this is the color I'm going to go for when they're chasing shad and they want to feed. This is my favorite color, and especially if there's a little bit of stain in the water. I love this chartreuse strip here. And the cool part about all of the Arashi Pops is that they have like a bright cut face on it, so you see that facing you just like that. And when a fish takes it, you can see whether that disappears, moves, goes out of the way, or stays there, and you know whether to lean into that fish and set the hook. This is the color I'm going to use when they're feeding, especially on shad. Then pretty much 3 colors I'm going to go with. This is just my go-to. Like when I first get to a lake and I tie a topwater on, this is the color. The reason being is it's a great all-round color. They just bite it. They can mistake it for absolutely anything. It's the best natural color that they have. I just absolutely love it. I've caught more fish on that color than any of them. And I'll just tie that straight on. And then I've got my other 2 for the particular situations. Setup, I get a ton of questions about topwater setups, and I'm going to go over it quickly. You've got two different rods. When I want to cast this as far as I possibly can, I'm going to use the Frog Freak from Miller Rods. It's 7'10". That's the key. It's a long rod, so that's going to allow me to bomb cast out to fish that are busting, to stump and stay away from those fish. I'm going to use a fast retrieve Shimano 8.5:1. So it's fast retrieve. The reason is I can just slowly wind and it just keeps catching up on that braid. I never have slack line. I don't have to work too hard. I can just wind slow and twitch and it takes up that line. And then when I set the hook, 8.5:1 makes it easy to keep a nice tight line on those bass. I'm going to run 50 or 30 pound Power Pro Super Slick all the way through to a fluorocarbon or monofilament leader. So I've got a very short leader. I don't mind running fluorocarbon. People say it makes it sink, but the Arashi and most topwaters are very buoyant, and that little short piece isn't going to be enough to pull it under anything. It's going to float, but you can use monofilament if you like. I like fluorocarbon because of the stiffness. When I cast it, the main reason I run a leader is it stops it from wrapping around the hooks. If you run straight braid through the air, when that turns, that braid's so loose, you get a nice cast out there in a school or on top of a fish that's blown up, and you've got your line hooked around your treble like that, and you don't want that. You want clean cast every time, and that's what a fluorocarbon leader is going to do. As I said, I'm going to tie it to a loop knot, straight to the popper, and then I'm going to use an FG knot back here, which is the world's strongest braid to fluorocarbon leader knot right there. So that's my setup. When I'm in close quarters, I'm going to switch my rod over to the Switch Freak, which is 7'3", which is going to give me more accurate casts in tight to cover around docks, stumps, short casts, and especially around the spawn. I'll do that so I can make more accurate casts. So there you have it. That's my 3 favorite poppers and the reason why I'm starting to go and gain more confidence in a popper over any other topwater.